Hello book lovers, and welcome back or welcome to Nat Cat's Bookish Cafe. Today I will be using my TBR game to choose my May TBR. Alright guys, it is that time of month again where I start to plan what I am going to be reading in the following month, which this month is honestly a little stressful because I know that some of my April books are going to be moving into May because I'm just not going to finish them. I do still have a week of this month to work on those, but I do still have 3 books that I haven't even started and 3 books that I am still working on. So things are not looking that great for me. But on the bright side, we will not be starting off this month with a punishment, but we also won't be getting a reward. As you may remember, if you've been here in March, I did take a break from my TBR, which of course means that there was nothing for me to finish, but also nothing for me to accomplish and get a reward for. So this month we will be starting off with just 5 rolls, and hopefully the TBR game is nice to me. If you want to see the rules for this game, I will go ahead and link the playlist. All the previous months are in there, as well as the instruction video. There have been a few changes since that instruction video came out, but it is pretty simple to get a grasp of the game once you see me playing it. As well as my TBR game, I do also want to take part in the Aurelium side quests, which I have not been doing up until this point. So I am going to try to do the January through May prompts, which is only 4 prompts since in April we got a rest from those prompts. And I will of course leave Book Roast's information down below since she is the one that is hosting this readathon. All right, I think that is all I need to go through before we get into the rolls. So I'll go ahead and pass it over to Natalie by the game board and we'll see what we get for roll number 1. All right, here we are at the board and ready for roll number 1 out of 5. Starting with a sci-fi. Last month was sci-fi heavy, so we'll see if it does that again. Number 5. Let's see. I don't really feel like putting more people in that area. 1, 2, 3, 4. Can't move that. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5. A mom pick. So this means that I'm going to give my mom some options and she will go ahead and pick one of those. All right, for roll number 1, we got a sci-fi and it was to do a mom pick. What I did is I chose 4 books and presented them to my mom and she selected one of them. The 4 options were The Mime Order by Samantha Shannon, Recursion by Blake Crouch, We Are the Ants by Sean David Hutchinson, and finally Gleanings by Neil Shusterman. All right, so my mom was going back and forth between these 2, but eventually decided on Recursion by Blake Crouch. She has also read Dark Matter and really enjoyed it and wants me to let her know if it's any good so she can pick it up after me. So this is a sci-fi story where people are waking up with memories that are not their own. And this is obviously causing a lot of chaos, a lot of distress, and I believe in some cases even suicide and death in the people that are experiencing this. And I believe we're following someone, maybe a scientist, who is going to try to find a remedy for what is occurring. So sounds intense, sounds interesting. I really loved the pacing of the Dark Matter book that Blake Crouch wrote, as well as his plot twists, and I'm hoping to get the same in this story. Roll number 2 out of 5. Contemporary. 2. All right, so it looks like we'll have to move this guy. All right, so this book needs to have won or been nominated for any sort of bookish prize. All right, for role number 2, we got a contemporary, and it needed to have won or been nominated for any sort of bookish prize. And for this one, I have selected The Death of Vivek Oji. I'm so excited to finally be getting to this book. I have just struggled to get it on my TBR. It's also short, which this month I definitely appreciate. This book, I'm sure, has been nominated or won plenty of awards. When I Googled it, the first one that came up was the Stonewall Award. I'm not sure if it won it or just was nominated, but this is definitely a well-beloved book by a well-beloved author. Kweki Emezi is not an author that I have read yet, but I have heard spectacular things about many of their books, and am hoping that I love them as well and can add them to my list of authors that I auto-buy. Now, I'm not sure if this is going to be one of those situations where I start the book and find out that it's more historical, like I did with The Vanishing Half by Brit Bennett, but as far as I can tell, this is a contemporary story that follows, I think, 2 timelines. We're following a timeline where Vivek is alive, and then we're following a timeline where they have passed away, and we're following their family as they're dealing with the grief of losing one of their own who they never really fully understood. So very excited to experience this story. I have a feeling it's going to be rather heart-wrenching, and I'm ready to shed a tear. Roll number 3 out of 5. Fantasy. All right, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. We could move that one or take someone else out, but I'm gonna try to avoid taking more people. Whoops, wrong one. More people out at this time. Oh, look at that. A 5-star prediction. All right, roll number 3. We got a fantasy that needs to be a 5-star prediction. For this one, I am super excited. This is a book that I'm very eager to get to, and it will also complete a series. And that is The Hourglass Throne by K.D. Edwards. This is the 3rd and I believe a final book in the tarot sequence. This is a urban fantasy story that follows a society that once lived in Atlantis, but due to war with the humans, Atlantis has been destroyed, and they now live in an area called New Atlantis, and it is run by a group of powerful families that are based off of the tarot cards. Our main character, Rune, is the sole survivor of the Sun Court, which was destroyed about a decade ago. We follow him and his companion, Brand, as they gather a found family around them and battle conspiracies and corruption within this city. This book has been building up to some sort of big secret and reveal revolving around the destruction of his court, and I'm very excited to see who is behind that and hopefully to watch them get destroyed, because Arun is such a wonderful, lovable character, and to know that he experienced such trauma on that night is utterly heartbreaking. I absolutely love the found family aspect of the story, and the magic system is really interesting as well. I have given the first 2 books in this series a 5-star. I reread them both earlier this year, and so of course I am expecting to give this one 5 stars as well. And we're on to roll number 4 out of 5. A romance. Oh, I have to roll a number first. 6. So let's see. Get this guy kind of close to home. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Title starts with N. The word the doesn't count. So this is obviously because my name is Natalie. So we'll see if I have any romances that start with the letter N. All right, roll number 4 was a romance, and it needed to start with the letter N, as in Natalie. This one I definitely struggled with. I didn't have any on my shelf, and it took me a long time scrolling through Goodreads until I found one. And the one that I landed on was Never Seduce a Scot by Maya Banks. This is a romance that I have come across a few times on a Goodreads. It's a historical fiction, and I believe that it's also arranged marriage. Our female character, as far as I know, is deaf in this book due to some sort of accident that she has as a child, and because of this, a lot of people kind of treat her like she's like this delicate, not very intelligent person. However, she of course is a wonderful human being, and throughout this book her new husband starts to realize that. Don't know much else about it, but it seems to be a very well loved book within the historical romance genre, so I'm excited to give it a try. My library has this available on Kindle, so that is how I will be reading it. All right, and we're on roll number 5 out of 5. So far we haven't had any punishments, which is incredible considering the last 2 times I played this I had 3 punishments per round. The game is being very nice. I think it might be apologizing. All right, and we are ending on a horror, thriller, or mystery. Number 4. Can't move any of these guys, so let's go ahead and 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is a book that needs to have 3 or more colors on the cover. All right, guys, roll number 5. And that was a horror, thriller, mystery that had 3 or more colors on the cover. For this one, I am getting to another book that I have been trying to get on my TBR for a long time, and that is A Lesson in Vengeance by Victoria Lee. If you look at the cover, we got some white, black, green, kind of yellowish, and of course, purple. This is an absolutely stunning cover. I love it so much. So it definitely has more than 3 colors on here. Victoria Lee is an author I've read before. I read her Fever King duology last year and really enjoyed it. Unfortunately, I haven't heard the best things about this book. I feel like a lot of people say it has the dark academia vibes just for the vibes, like it takes the vibes too far. I don't have a lot of experience with dark academia, so I don't know if that will bother me as much. However, we are following a young woman, I think they're about 17 years old, and she is returning to a high school that she left a year ago because her girlfriend had died there. This school has a history of witchcraft and violence against witches, and our main character actually has a lot of experience in the arcane, and her new roommate is considered a prodigy of writing, and she wants to write about the Dalloway sisters, I believe they are called. Yeah, so the Dalloways were like 5 witches that were apparently killed on the school grounds, and she wants to research that and is pulling our character into that research. Of course, history starts to repeat itself, and our characters need to figure out what exactly is going on. So this does have a female-female relationship in it, as well as witchy vibes, dark academia vibes. So I feel like it'll be a good time, and I'm hoping that Victoria Lee hits another home run with me. All right, so those are all the books I'm going to be reading for my TBR game, but like I said, I do want to complete the January through May prompts for the Aurelium side quest. So here you can take a little look at the map. You probably can't read it too well, but I'll of course let you know what the prompts are as I pull them up. So for most of these, I was luckily able to double up. However, for the month of January, I was unable to do so. The prompt that I have selected was to go right, and that is to finish a series. I was going to use the Hourglass Throne for this, but I needed to use it for another prompt later down the line because it's the only one that works for that prompt. So I am adding another book to my TBR, a book I'm very excited to read. So I'm not too mad about it, even though it adds a little bit more stress to the situation. But that book is Capturing the Devil by Carrie Maniscalco. This is the 4th and final book book in Stalking Jack the Ripper series. We're following Audrey Rose as well as her partner Thomas as they apprentice to become forensic scientists and hunt down murders that are based off of well-known characters like Stalking Jack the Ripper, Dracula, Houdini, and now the devil. This book is historically based and it is considered YA and has lots of thriller mystery aspects to it. It also has a romance that I am very invested in. I have really enjoyed the series so far. I love Audrey as a character and I really enjoy Carrie Maniscalco's writing. So in this book, our characters are now in America and I believe Chicago. Yep, so Chicago specifically, and they are hunting a man that goes by the devil, I guess. I haven't read the synopsis too much at this point. However, I'm thinking, considering the time period and the fact that it's taking place in Chicago, that it has ties to the fair. I don't remember what the fair is called, but if you know, you know. But yeah, no, I'm super excited to be finishing off this series this month if I can get to it. All right, so for the February prompt, I am going into a cave, which means that the book I'm selecting has pretty much only words on the title. Now, I know in the previous clip I was just saying that that book was the only one that isn't on my TBR that I have to add on extra. This one is technically not on my TBR either, but I do need to read it because it is a part of a readathon, and that is The Mime Order by Samantha Shannon. This is the second book to the Bone season. In this book, we are following a young woman called Paige, and she is a clairvoyant. At the beginning of the first book, she is arrested and kind of thrust into this new world full of new adventures and new knowledges that kind of change her perspective of the world that she is living in. Because there's a twist so early on in that first book, we can't talk about it that much, and therefore I also can't let you know too much about what the second book is going to be about. But I did give the first book 4.5 stars, and I'm really excited to see where it goes. All right, in the month of March, I had to fight a wizard, which means reading a book that has a rating over 4.3. So this is the one that I needed to save the Hourglass Throne for. None of the other books that I have on my TBR had that high of a rating. This one has a 4.6 rating on Goodreads, which is a pretty good reading, a very high rating, but that's not surprising because this is the third book in a well-beloved series. All right, and for the final book to catch all the way up, it would be the May prompt, since there was no prompts in April, and that is for me to stay in Aurelium. And I need to read a book that ends in an even number. Recursion by Blake Crouch has 326 pages, so I will be picking up this one. All right, so here are my stack of books that I need to read this month. We also have Never Seduce Scott on Kindle to add to this. So it is a slightly intimidating stack, especially since these two books, I believe, are both over 400 pages. And like I said, I will definitely be moving some of my April books into May as well. So wish me luck. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. Let me know down below what your plans for May are. As always, thank you so much for supporting my channel by watching my videos, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!